Why your partner seems too busy and doesn't make time for you. What to do exactly. Welcome to the Anxious to Secure podcast. Does it sound familiar? The more you try to make him happy, the more he pulls away. He's giving his fun and interesting side to his friends while you get his boring version. Do you feel like an afterthought to his busy schedule? Your partner seems more excited about his PlayStation or his phone than spending time with you. And he's like a slop on the couch while you would love to just, spend time with him, go for a walk, grab him for a cup of coffee and just have a deep conversation with him. And he loves spending time on his phone, and it seems like, he rather prefers that over spending quality time with you. If you're nodding along to this, stick around, because what I'm about to share with you might completely change how you view your partner's behavior. If you're on YouTube right now, drop a comment below and tell me, please, which of these situations make you want to scream, yes, that's me. And if you're on Spotify or on Apple, please follow me for more if this is something you're interested in learning more about. What you'll discover today is why your partner's busy behavior has nothing to do with your worth and what it's all about. The mind-blowing truth about their core wounds that will completely change how you see their actions. My simple F.A.R.E framework to separate your facts from your fears so you can stop spiraling and overthinking. And the exact steps to feel secure when they need space instead of feeling abandoned or not a priority in your relationship. Hi, I'm Jula. Wow, I have been there really, and for at least 30 plus years, I have been the queen of anxious attachment style. You name it, I felt it. From feeling like he was into me anymore because I didn't feel like priority, for example, feeling insecure and alone in my relationship with my partner, and making up so many breakup stories in my head and thinking, does this mean now this is the end of the relationship? But guess what? I transformed my anxious attachment style in just 6 months, and now it's time for you to, do the same if you're ready to. It's not about speed at all. It's not a race. Just know it's possible. This is the most important part. Know it's possible, and no, it doesn't have to take 20 years or 30 years. It just took me 30 years to actually realize it is possible, and this was the core issue of how I felt and showed up every day. And you can never become really 100% secure. I'm not 100% secure either. I am even more anxious in for example, in friendships than I am in my romantic relationships, because this is the area I worked on most. But just know you can become securely attached. It doesn't have to take years and years and years. You just have to learn the right tools, because we haven't been taught those tools in school. So there I was, sitting on my couch, watching my partner play PlayStation for the millionth of time. And I remember thinking, he prefers shooting zombies or whatever he was doing. I wasn't really paying attention than spending time with me. Yeah. Maybe sounds familiar to you. And the thing is, we take everything so personal, right? If you have an anxious attachment style. But here's the thing. What I discovered changed everything. Fast forward now, I'm so much happier than I was at that time, because I'm not making it mean anything about my relationship, about my self-worth, about, how much he loved me. I'm not taking it personal anymore. I'm not thinking he doesn't love me because he's playing PlayStation a lot or he needs a lot of alone time. And I see the joy in his eyes. So here's really what really shifted this from my perspective. I understand that he didn't have this, playtime, this fun time as much when he was younger. And this is kind of his way now of connecting with his inner child. So who am I now to take this away and to kind of break this off and wanting him to stop being now, playful again and adventurous? And it only after realizing what this is all about, what really is underneath all of this, by the way, if you're not 100% certain that you're actually anxiously attached, I've got a very fast quiz for you. It's like a 3-minute quick attachment style quiz. I'm going to pop it into the links here in the show notes or below in the description on YouTube. Why is this so important? Because you really need to know if you are anxiously attached or more perhaps disorganized attached. And this is super, super important, because both need a different approach and different roadmaps becoming securely attached. And you can find the link on YouTube in the description below, or on the podcast on Spotify or Apple in the show notes. And also, if you know already 100% you have an anxious attachment style, I have something more for you. I have got this magical library collected over the last years now of at least 25 plus free anxious attachment free resources. That is like quizzes, worksheets, journaling prompts, cheat sheets, anything else you can imagine, and so much more, like tools that help you to make a start, and also like a guide, which is only €7, which has, I think, 100, I can't remember, pages full of frameworks of my stories, of foundations of attachment theory, of how I heal my anxious attachment style, and so many things that can transform your anxious attachment journey. It helps to create awareness, gives you already like your roadmap, so you can really stop sabotaging your relationships right now and starting your healing journey. It's linked in the description on YouTube or on the podcast show notes. And by the way, stay until the end, because I'm going to share something that will really completely change how you see your partner as this person who apparently doesn't like you, doesn't prioritize you, and is always too busy for you or not into you. And you will manage to change the way you see him right now, or her, or them. When you understand the real reason behind their actions, it will blow your mind and can create so much change in your relationship. So here's something really, really interesting, right? If you're listening to this, there's a 95% chance your partner has an avoidant attachment style. Why? Because we anxiously attached souls are literally magnets for emotionally unavailable partners. Congratulations. Why this happens, I'm happy to share in a different episode. If you want to hear more, just drop me comments on Instagram or YouTube. But here's really why it gets interesting. When your partner withdraws or is busy on his own and is shutting down or doing things by himself, your feeling of not being a priority is probably not about you and has all to do with him, with them. Let me explain their core wounds, because understanding this has really changed everything, how I see my partner nowadays, and created so much more closeness in our relationship. So just like we have our core wounds, like feeling abandoned, not good enough, not worthy of love, your partner likely experienced the opposite. So imagine a parent who was too close many times, like a helicopter parent who never really gave them space to breathe. Someone who needed them to be kind of perfect and criticized every mistake they did when they were little, or having to be the strong one always when they were little, and to be responsible for a lot of things in their family when they were little. Also a big part could be when they were growing up, learning that emotions are part of weakness. That's a big one as well, being told to toughen up, to man up, boys don't cry, things like this, or getting praise only for achievements and never just really being themselves. They always thought there's something flawed about them, and there's something bad and something shameful about them, and really they have to hide for who they really are, and having to figure everything out also by themselves, because asking for help meant being a burden somehow. And then also being called so mature or maybe so independent when really they had no choice. So this is really important. This is why they're so self-reliant now, because this is why they need space, at least first. In truth, they need freedom. Space is the initial part of it. And I will explain this in another episode, but because being alone was the only safe space they really had. Their games, their phone, their alone time, their walks, their need for freedom and adventure, their obsession maybe with work nowadays. Now listen close. These things are not a distraction from you right now. They are distractions from their own emotions and a way to really create safety and comfort for themselves. These are really their ways of feeling safe and in control right now in their relationship. And it has nothing to do with you and all to do with themselves to 95% of the cases. So the more you can see that and support their need of emotional freedom and space, the more you can create safety for the both of you. Okay, let's talk about the mirror effect, right? So now here's this mind-blowing part about how this really plays out in relationships. So when we then get kind of clingy or needy, they feel suffocated, just like with their helicopter parents, let's say. when we need this emotional support a lot from our partner, they kind of freeze up and feel overwhelmed because they have been taught emotions were a sign of weakness. And they feel overwhelmed. When we want more time and this closeness in our relationship, they then want space. And this is how they feel safe, because closeness equals danger in their world and in their upbringing. So think of it like this. Every anxious move we make triggers their deepest childhood fears of being overwhelmed and controlled. It's exactly like we are accidentally recreating the very situation they have tried to escape from as a kid. Sounds strange, right? But that's kind of, So when we desperately reach out for connection, it mirrors the parent who never really let them have their own space. When we push for having deep emotional chats with our partner, which I can really relate to that, it really echoes the past where their feelings got too intense or overwhelming and they were not really being heard and seen, and they were not used to having this validation and reassurance when they were growing up. So this is why the harder we try to get close, the more they try to escape. We are unintentionally pressing on their old wounds. But that's good if we know this, right? So how do we break now the cycle? This is where my F.A.R.E framework comes in. It's just one of many frameworks that help me and my clients a lot to really start breaking the cycle, and everything really starts with us, because we can't change our partner. We can only create safety for ourselves so we don't trigger them. The F.A.R.E framework, it really helps you to challenge your negative automatic thoughts. It helps you to create new believable thoughts and turn them into empowering beliefs. Here's how it goes. When we're triggered by our partner's behavior, let's say, we peel back the layers to what's really going on beneath the surface. So F stands for find the thought. The surface level thought could be he prefers, gaming over me. And another deeper layer thought could be here, he doesn't want to spend time with me. So ask yourself really, what am I making it mean about myself? So the more you peel the layer back, the more you actually realize, hey, this is actually the true painful thought. And eventually you'll come and find your core belief, which always usually starts with I am. This is the core belief about ourselves, and we also have core beliefs about other people and about the world. For example, the world is unsafe, or people will leave me. But in this case, it could be I am unlovable. Then next step is the next step in the F.A.R.E framework is A. Ask questions. You're going to challenge this thought. Let's say you want to challenge the core belief, I am unlovable. So let's go with this one, because we know consciously it's not true. We are all lovable, but subconsciously you don't know that, and you really want to challenge this. So now let's challenge the core belief, I am unlovable. Ask yourself questions and ideally journal this down. It has a more deeper, stronger effect on your brain. So is this really about being unlovable, or is this my old wound speaking of, I'm not good enough, I'm unworthy, I'm unlovable, people will leave me? Then what evidence do I have of being loved by friends, by family, by past relationships, by myself? Where can I see that I'm lovable, from my eyes as well? And am I making his need for space mean something about my worth? Am I trying to make other people define my worth? That's really important, because that's very typical for someone who has an anxious attachment style. And this is something we need to really challenge and question and change. Then what would someone with a secure attachment think in this moment? Next step, R, reframe your thought, your stories. Create a new perspective, starting with what feels believable for you. So more neutral thoughts could be, perhaps his, gaming isn't actually about me at all, right? Could be. If you words like maybe, perhaps, is it possible, you add more neutral thoughts in here, which adds curiosity, because sometimes you can't jump to a very positive affirmation. So you will rather want to start with, bridge thoughts, more neutral thoughts. So you could play around with, maybe his need for space is just about recharging, connecting with himself. Maybe he just wants to have fun, and it doesn't mean anything about me. Two things could be true. He could have fun by himself and with me. Otherwise, it would be black and white thinking if you would think he can only have fun by himself and he wouldn't have fun with me then. And that's very typical as well. If you have an anxious attachment style, you only focus on negative, you think only one thing is possible, that he only has fun with his friends or by himself, but not with you. Then it's possible that alone time means something different to him than it does for me, right? There might be days when I'm lovable and days when I'm still learning to love myself. If you're ready for more empowering, more positive thoughts, you could also tell yourself, I am lovable exactly as I am. His needs for space is about his patterns and his fears or his needs, not my worth. I can give him space and know I'm worthy and lovable. The key is to really choose thoughts that feel true for you specifically. It's okay to start small and build up beliefs with more repetitions and more emotions over time, and then move on to these more bigger beliefs that feel true for you. And with repetition and emotion, again, you build up these new beliefs. And exactly how to do this, I teach this in my courses and in my one-on-one coaching, because there are really specific ways how to rewire your mind, how to access emotions, how and when you need to do this, and there are frameworks. You need to know how your brain actually works and how you can do this. There are lots of different ways and that work for you, and you want to really do it in a way that really is fun and it doesn't have to take much work, to be honest. I do it with just 5 minutes every day. Sometimes I do it more, sometimes I do it less, but again, we all don't have that much time. We don't want to rewire our brain like 10 hours a day. And the last step in the FAIR framework, we had already F.A.R.E. Find the thought, ask questions, reframe the story or reframe the thought. And now it's E for echo. Echo the new thought. Repetition is important if you want to change something, right? It's like with a diet. First of all, you want to stop eating chocolate over a long period of time, or eat smaller portions of chocolate, or you want to replace it with healthier pieces of chocolate, maybe dark chocolate, or maybe with healthier snacks, or you want to just move your body more. And repetition is very important to build a new habit. So how can you do this with your thoughts? Writing it down, your new thoughts, can be very powerful. Either write it down as your old wounds get triggered, or do it as a journaling habit every morning or every evening. For example, write it down like 10 times. You can write down first your old wounds, your old thoughts, cross them out, and then write down 10 times a new thought. That could be a possibility. Or speaking it out loud to yourself with compassion. The thought into your mirror or to yourself, especially in the mornings or evenings. You could also finding daily evidence to support that new belief. That's also subconscious rewiring to find proof. This is why I'm lovable, and then aligning actions with it as well. And really practicing this new truth until it becomes your new core belief, because beliefs are just thoughts. You repeat it over and over again until it turned into a habit. A thought habit means it's now a belief, a very automatic, ingrained belief. You don't have to question it anymore. Your brain doesn't need to use a lot of energy to recall it up, which just makes it very powerful. It takes a lot of brain energy to change the belief again, which is what we want with positive or fulfilling or empowering beliefs. So here's something really powerful to remember. When we feel unseen, overlooked, or not a priority as children, we literally couldn't take care of ourselves. Makes sense, right? We were too small, too young. But now as adults, we have the power to meet our own needs, even though our anxious attachment brain hasn't caught up with this truth yet. So ask yourself, what needs were unmet in my childhood? How are you subconsciously trying to get your partner to fulfill this role for you now? Are you seeking constantly, closeness to feel safe? Or are you needing to be, their priority to feel worthy? And here is something beautiful. Your partner's needs for space is actually a gift in disguise. The ability to be alone, to enjoy independence, to have strong boundaries. These are all superpowers you can learn from. And remember, your partner can't heal your childhood wounds. That's your beautiful journey now you can, take yourself on. And you're absolutely capable of doing that. And you want to know something I've learned through my attachment journey as a coach and through my own, healing journey? The more you learn to enjoy alone time like your partner does, the less triggered you will feel when they need space. the more attracted they'll be to your independence as well. The easier it will be to communicate your needs without much of a drama, because you have managed to take care of your own emotions, of your anxiety, so then you can communicate from this detached and grounded place. And the more secure you will feel regardless of what they do, and the more secure you will feel regardless of what they will do. Let me share with you something that landed in my DMs, and I'm super happy to share this with you and talk to you through as well, because it's perfectly fitting into the story. Let me summarize the points for you. So her partner just told her he feels smothered. When they're together, he's totally fine, just being in the same room, watching shows or doing something for themselves. But for her, she wants more. She wants to do things. She wants to go outside. She wants to have conversations. She feels she feels sad. She feels like a victim. She's overthinking this, and she kind of wants to fix herself. And I'm happy you opened yourself up to me. And here's why the story matters so much, because it shows what matters under the surface when we feel like we are maybe too much, or we have to fix ourselves, we're not good enough, and our partner's withdrawing and they're not doing things to make us feel good. But as we already talked about, there might be a lot more underneath the surface. When we look at the core wounds, we might know that it's not about us, it's actually about them as well, and how their childhood has impacted how now they show up in our relationships. So first of all, I really appreciate your awareness right now already. You've spotted already so much of your key patterns, and maybe what you've not seen yet is something I've already talked in this episode about. So when your partner says they feel smothered, here's what is happening, what I assume. And that's something we've already touched on with the core wounds, and really understanding maybe that your partner has avoidant tendencies or has an avoidant attachment style, and where this actually comes from. Your partner's childhood wounds around emotional suffocation are getting triggered here. So being just in the same room feels safe to them, to him. And deep conversations with a friend feels less threatening because there's distance, and it feels like less of a connection. Because let's be honest, a friend, like an intimate connection between friends, can be often less intimate, especially around guys, because you don't go much into the emotions and deep stuff. But a connection between your partners, a romantic relationship, can be much deeper, especially if you are saying you're craving this emotional conversation. So this could be, his trigger here. And that's why you think, you're not getting the fun side, and he's going out with friends and then is letting loose a bit more. But with you're always getting the couch potato, basically. It is just understanding what makes him feel safe, because deep conversation with friends just feel less threatening because they just feel more of a distance. I hope that makes sense. So he's maybe retreating because the relationship has started to feel focused on more problems, which is completely normal. After the honeymoon phase, we shift into this power struggle phase. The easiest way to get out of the power struggle phase is working on yourself, seeing what you can control, becoming securely attached. Instead of focusing on your partner, you want to focus on yourself and creating also an atmosphere of appreciation, instead of focusing on everything that goes wrong in the relationship, like criticizing your partner, asking for things over and over again. Can we do this? Let's do that. Rather than saying, okay, how can I pour more things into myself, and then ask for things in a way of positive reinforcement, rather, hey babe, I love it when we spend time together, versus we never spend time together. And then something I want to touch on very quickly, what I've noticed a lot, is like the seems game. A lot of thoughts always are about, they seem to have better conversation with friends, or they seem happier with others, or they seem to prefer time alone. And it's very important to learn to separate facts from fears and from stories we're telling ourselves. And they can have a deeper conversation, but the proof is they chat with our friends. So it's really important to get curious and really understand, hey, is this exactly what is happening? Or do they more seem like they're enjoying time with their friends more than time with me, for example? And a few quick steps, because this episode is already way too long, I can really recommend for you who handed in the question. Step 1 is about building awareness. Again, notice when you're forcing active connections, like learn to self-soothe when you're triggered. Observe when you're feeling jealous or when you're feeling abandoned or disconnected. Observe how you're feeling in your body. Create like a journal diary of these are my triggers, these are my thoughts, these are my emotions, and then this is my behavior. How do I show up in these moments? And really practice on being present without doing things. Step 2 is really challenge your stories, because if you just now, track to your thoughts and triggers and emotions and actions, now you want to really notice these stories, these beliefs, and then challenge them as well. So challenge your thoughts like, he doesn't like me, or he prefers time with my friends. Ask them really, are they true? Is it 100% true? How do I know that? What else could be true? And then use my F.A.R.E framework, for example, to challenge them and find new believable thoughts that could be true here as well. And then step 3 is create new patterns and build your own world that's a bit more balanced, not just a focus on your partner, focus on yourself. So how can you do this? For example, expand beyond your relationship, create your support system, even if it's just 1 or 2 more people that you actually reach out to. For me, I've learned to reach out a little bit more to my mom because I've moved to Sicily and there are not many friends there are not many connections. So for me, it's been really lonely as well here, but to just not get into my head about it was very important. I'm reaching out to people online. For me, I've learned the biggest part of creating friendship was over things I have in common too with people. So now that I'm, a business owner, or I'm a relationship coach, I, have this really in common with people. So I love talking about anxious attachment style with people, about relationships, about, creating your own business online. And I'm not afraid anymore to just reach out to them saying, and do you want to just hop on a call with me or something like this? Don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone, even just a tiny little bit. And it's not about just having this best friend and creating this new big best friendship. Just connect with just people outside. Just, be open-minded, go outside for a walk. It helps if you have a dog with you, because then you can connect with other dog people outside, something like this. Just be open-minded, friendly, just have little small talks, because this is how you build your capacity. Join like online classes or classes, in real life. And this can be a great way just to build connections and find people. There are also apps, I think, was it Bumble, something like this, where you can not date people, but connect with people through on a friendship basis. I heard great stories through that as well. And remember, just small steps. And you're not alone. The more you learn to connect with yourself, actually, it will help you to also build connections to other people and to your partner. The more you pour into yourself, the more your partner will see you being excited about life, about yourself, and the more magnetic you become. By the way, if you're ready to go deeper and finally heal your anxious attachment style, I want you to know something. While you can do this alone, you don't have to. I've created a proven 4-step framework called the F.A.R.E method: release, rewire, reconnect, and reflect, which is basically a fast track to a secure attachment style. And here's the thing. If you know you have an anxious attachment style, you are already halfway there. While you are just 50% of the problem, you're also 100% of the solution. So your anxiety comes from your past and not your partner. That's the good news, because you can change yourself. Your partner is just triggering your old core wounds, and you can heal them. It's not even about healing, it's more about creating a transformation. And if staying in your anxious avoidant relationship feels very off, but leaving feels even harder, this is perfect for you. If you're tired of only feeling secure when your partner shows up in a certain way, it's time to create security from within. I offer personalized one-on-one coaching, which is like bi-weekly sessions and real-time support between calls, by the way, because this is where most of the transformation is happening. This is for you. Because let's be honest, you have probably tried already therapy, setting boundaries, reading all the self-help books, listening to all the podcasts and Googling on Reddit, but nothing's sticking, right? That's where I come in, teaching you how to rewire your subconscious mind really for lasting change, and how to create a regulated nervous system. So if you're ready to become the best, more secure version of yourself, just book a 30-minute free call with me and find out more about the 4 or 8 month coaching container to become secure together. And the listener also mentioned, how do I fix myself? That's something I want to highlight here. There's nothing to fix. You're not broken. When I always say, you want to heal your anxious attachment style, you actually want to transform who you are right now. You're not broken. There's nothing to heal. It's more of a transformational journey. And the key to really learning is to meet some of your needs yourself, build a support network beyond your partner, which can be very small, which can be through a therapist or a coach or a few friends. Oh, my partner's just calling, sorry, I had to swipe him off. And you want to create safety from within, so you don't rely on your partner to feel connected, to feel safe, to feel validated, and to feel seen, because this is your responsibility to do this for yourself. And then everything your partner does when he joins you for walks or when he joins you in anything outside, that's just an addition on top. I hope that makes sense. And, in the upcoming episodes, I dive so much deeper into breaking an anxious avoidance cycle, because this topic is so deep and I can't just break it into one episode. And I know this so well. So remember, you are not needy. You're not broken. You're healing generational patterns and transforming into your best and secure version of yourself. And you're so brave for, taking on this journey, and you're amazing exactly for who you are. And you don't have to change. You just have to learn to, be in this regulated state without being in this low-key survival mode. So don't forget to grab free resources that are linked in the show notes. Go onto Instagram or YouTube at The Anxious to Secure Coach and let me know what you thought about this episode. Give me a 5-star rating and follow for more. See you in the next episode. Lots of love, Jula. Bye bye.